Good morning, everybody. Shift your mindset here with a new episode, and that's the Czech Republic update on the deregistration of Jehovah Witnesses. Because they are mulling whether to crack down on the local branch of Jehovah Witnesses. But of course, it's downplayed by the Jehovah Witnesses, as we know them. So it is an order dated already from September 2024. And the update to this day is that the Czech Culture Ministry called on the Jehovah Witnesses to hold any activity in violation of the law. The purpose of this notice is not to interfere in internal matters, but they were giving the Jehovah Witnesses 3 months to get its affairs in order over 2 of the most controversial practices, or else they face deregistration. But we're now almost half a year further down the line and it's still undecided. So I think the Czech ministry is doing their homework and looking maybe at other countries how they handle this case. They are still assessing the situation and no proceedings of deregistration have been initiated. But deregistration in the Czech Republic means they are not banning the Jehovah Witnesses in practicing the religion, but deregistration is they lose additional rights. They lose their legal status. They lose the possession of a bank account, and that will hit them the most. The ability to perform marriages or to teach in their own schools. Those 4 things. Legal status, possession of a bank account, the ability to perform marriages, not a big deal because you can go to City Hall, or to teach its own theological schools. But, there's a big but. It will also mean that they lose all of the real estate in the Czech Republic. About 13,000 Jehovah Witnesses are registered. They have 165 kingdom halls. They've also a branch, other properties, and it's worth about $78 million. So that would be liquidated and redistributed to other registered churches. And the spokesman for the Jehovah Witnesses, and this is funny, says a much bigger blow than losing tens of millions of dollars in the public stigma that the state views the witnesses negatively, making believers especially vulnerable to hate speech and hate crimes. So they pretend that they care more about the publishers and the individuals than about those tens of millions of dollars. We all know it's the other way around, according to the governing body. They are rather have fear for losing all that real estate than some people who endure persecution and stuff like that. We all know that, but they say otherwise. I will post this article in the description, of course, and it's a difficult case. Why? Because it's about 2 things. And those 2 things are blood. the blood doctrine. The Czech Republic wants preventing minors from receiving medical care appropriate to their health needs. That's a refusal from the Jehovah Witnesses to accept blood transfusion, including for their children, based on the belief that blood represents life and that the Bible commands the faithful not to consume blood. And then, of course, they say we are seeking the most high quality medical treatments and we cooperate with medical professionals to find safe and effective alternatives. And we know that it's going to be a difficult case for the Czech ministry. Why? Because the European Court of Human Rights already gave their verdict to the Jehovah Witnesses. There was in September a case in Spain. A Jehovah Witness was given a blood transfusion against their will, not being able to exercise their autonomy. So it's a difficult one, but the Czech Republic goes especially for the minors and the parents. And the Jehovah Witnesses say, the spokespersons say, it's up to the parents. And that's why the European Court often gives their approval to the Jehovah Witnesses, because it's the parents' rights, because they have minors. But the court doesn't realize that yes, the parents decide, but the parents decide only because their faith, their religion, says to do so. So you can't separate those two things, the parents and the organization, in my opinion, because the parents only listen to the organization. They don't listen to medical specialists, to other medical things. They just do what they have been told by the religion. So is it basically the decision of the parents, or are they just replicating what the governing body wants you to do? And that's a tricky one for a court to decide. That's a tricky one to prove. That's a tricky one to get your rights. Because yes, the parents are responsible. The parents choose something. That's their right. But is that right something they come up with themselves, or is it told and whispered in those ears by that organization where you devote your whole life to? So that's a problem. And of course, the second one for the Czech ministry, why they want to deregistrate them, is about shunning, is about removal. And also here it's said by the Jehovah Witnesses, they do the same thing as in Norway. And that's a little bit a pity for us. Why? Because they say, while admitting that Jehovah Witnesses believe the Bible directs that adherents should limit contact with a person who is removed from the congregation or requests to be disassociated, he insists that the precise extent of this limited contact depends on the personal circumstance of each individual and their conscience. So again, they're putting that burden on the shoulders of those family members and friends of someone who is getting removed or disassociated, or is getting this fellowship, as I call it. They say the precise extent, and that's that weasel word again, precise extent, they leave it open to the individual and the conscience of their own people. We all know it's different. We all know the shepherd of the flock book. We all know how elders will counsel you if you don't limit contact with someone who is disassociated or who is removed from the congregation. And so it's a tug of war between spokesperson of the Jehovah Witnesses, the ministry, and other members, ex-Jehovah members who are involved. There are a lot of people who wrote letters to the Czech ministry, said in this article, also to help the case for the Jehovah Witnesses, but it's not decided yet till this day. They gave them 3 months to get their affairs in order. There is nothing changed in the blood doctrine. There is nothing changed in the removal doctrine, in the shunning doctrine. They want to show us that something has changed in that Watchtower article. The only thing that has changed is that you can welcome somebody in the congregation hall and that you can invite someone just for the purpose to invite them back to the congregation. That's the whole summary of what is changed. But we, as ex-Jehovah Witnesses, other people as Jehovah Witnesses, know deep down inside that nothing has changed. No ex-Jehovah Witness now has a good family bond. No Jehovah Witnesses now on a weekly basis or a monthly basis connected to their parents or other family members who are still Jehovah Witness. No one has called me, hey, how are you doing? Nobody. So there is nothing changed, but they want you to show you, they want you to know that there is so much changed in this organization. But down the line, nothing has changed. So this is, I put it in the description, the link of this article. Read it yourself. It's from the Balkan Insight about the Jehovah Witnesses. It's still pending. Let's hope that they make a good decision. And there's a lot on the line for the Watchtower. So I think a lot of money, effort and time is going into this case now. But it's good that there is another country now that's going after them and putting them in place, because it's not a normal religion. Blood doctrine, everything about removal and shunning, there is a light. And what we don't want is that people think that Jehovah Witnesses are some kind of martyr. They have a martyr syndrome, that they're doing this for the highest goods and stuff like that. So I keep you posted if there's coming up something new. This was from last week, this article. It's still pending, can be going both sides, but they have a lot to lose because almost $80 million is on the line. And that's where Watchtower is focused on. Not on the well-being of the members. We see it in Russia. They don't care after all, but they don't want their properties to be seized by the government and distributed to other religions in that country who are registered. So I keep you posted and we see each other on the next episode.